Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Virgo, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of February. I hope you're well. I would like to take the opportunity to thank those of you who've waited for me. I know I was away a little longer than anticipated, but the exhaustion was real and I didn't really notice how exhausted I was until it overtook me. So I took a little bit of time. Seems to be a thing around this time of year anyway. But I'm back now. So, we're using the Untitled Tarot for you today, which is intriguing. It's a very dense spiritual deck. It makes me feel like there is probably quite a lot going on with you at the moment, so we'll have a look into that. There will be an extended at the end of the reading if you're interested in looking further into whatever comes up today. If it resonates, go ahead. And I've also done a 6-month overview for 2021 for each of the signs. There's a link down there in the description to that too. So if you are interested, go check those out. In the meantime, let's just give these one last shuffle and see what they have to say about you. Could I have 3 cards for Virgo, please, for February? It's the Ace of Cups. 3 cards for Virgo, please. There's the first one, the Knight of Cups. And current energy for Virgo, please. We have the Star. That's beautiful. And what's coming towards Virgo, please, in February? We have the King of Swords and we have the Lovers. Interesting. Half of the cards on the table are major arcana for you here, Virgo. Now, at the bottom of the deck, we have the Page of Pentacles, and he talks about a new start to me, or newly discovering the value of something. Often this is wrapped up with issues of identity because it is often about seeing the value of yourself. But we've got just behind it the 5 of Cups. And it's not really a surprise because most of 2020 was dealing with themes of loss and grief and bereavement for all the Virgos. So it makes sense that it's here, but goodness, how pleased I am to see this Page of Pentacles on the top. Let's get some clarifiers and we'll see what this energy is about. I like it for you. Which deck am I using to clarify, please? Oh, it's just the standard Rider, right? Okay. 5 of Cups at the bottom of that deck as well, but with the Hanged Man behind it. There's a shift coming, Virgo. I felt it when I was doing your meditation actually, and I feel like, I can't remember for the life of me what came up in your 2021 video. It just goes out of my head almost as soon as I've done one. So well, bell might ding in my head somewhere. Right, tell me about the Knight of Cups, please. We've got the Page of Swords, more page energy. Tell me about this. And the Star again. Wow. Tell me about the Star, please. Ace of Pentacles. Ooh. Tell me about the Star. There's so many cards that are flipping over here and I feel like they all have a piece of the puzzle. I said that this felt like quite a dense reading before it even started. We've got the 9 of Swords, which showed its face but then went back into the pack. We've got the Hierophant. We've got the Devil. We've got the 4 of Cups. These are all cards that speak of, well, here, the Devil and the 4 of Cups, they talk about feelings of rejection and abandonment, isolation, that sort of thing. The Devil is a fear that is underpinning that. And what else did we have? The Hierophant. That can talk about marriage, it can talk about divorce, but it talks about a structure that has exited your life, right? Whether that is somebody that you cared about, like a proper social institution like marriage or, that sort of thing. And then this 9 of Swords that has never quite left you, Virgo, not over the course of 2020, but we want the ones that jump, so let's put them back in, give them a good shuffle. Tell me about the Star, please. We've got the King of Cups, Scorpio energy there. And tell me about the King of Swords and the Lovers, please. We have the Five of Wands, King of Swords and the Lovers, Knight of Cups, and one more for that, please, because there are two. Thank you. Judgment. Oh, Virgo, this is a titanic shift. You're not quite comfortable with it yet, but good Lord. The Knight of Wands is here, but he was face down, and I feel like that's not an energy that you're particularly comfortable looking at right now, right? It is the card of Sagittarius, but it talks about fun and sometimes recklessness, sometimes a non-committal kind of energy about things. But it is also a card of liberation, of freedom, you know, of choosing what it is that you want. Notice that it's face down. You're not there yet. You're not ready for that yet. The card that is at the bottom of the deck is the Four of Swords. Now, the Four of Swords is my meditation card, but it talks about... Let's close that window, shall we? It talks about a stillness. It talks about rest and recovery. It follows on from the Three of Swords. So, you know, it's about taking more of an objective step back. Now, this is what I really, really like about this reading, because where the Five of Cups has shown its face a number of times, and that is, as we know, a card that deals with loss and bereavement and grief, and you know, on the shadow side, it can talk about resentment and bitterness and isolation and loneliness. You know, they've showed their faces, but they're not out here in the main part of the reading, right? That energy is all-encompassing. It takes over everything, and it's focusing on those things that are lost rather than those things that remain, or those things that could be in the future. They've shown their face. We know they're there, but they're not presenting in the main part of the reading. And what is presenting is this. Put those cards to the side here. So the first card that you have here is the Knight of Cups. It's Piscean energy, but it speaks about being heart-led. You know, sometimes it can talk about offering your cup, your emotions to other people. But to me, it's about how you show up emotionally in the world, right? It's about being open and allowing people in, right? But also giving at the same time, you know? There's movement here. And that's astounding, given where you've been for most of 2020, because there was no possibility of you being able to move where you were, right? You were thoroughly enthralled to that Five of Cups energy. But what we've got here is the Page of Swords and the Star, clarifying it. Now, the Page of Swords, I always think it's interesting, because this Page of Swords is, like, look at the body language there. Yeah, that is somebody who is set to go forwards but is looking backwards in some sort of way, right? But it is also an information gatherer, right? But objective. Now, it looks like, to me, that you are in a period of reflection, perhaps detached and perhaps slightly isolated, but it feels more deliberate now. It feels like there's a point to it, rather than just that you cannot move and you don't want to move and you're not going anywhere. It feels like you've stepped back a little bit from things on purpose to look at them. The Page is often the information gatherer. He can indicate news coming in, but I don't feel that for you. It feels like it's a detached look at this. You know, there's an expansion of thinking going on here, and it feels so much more deliberate and so much more conscious than where you have been for most of 2020. I particularly like the fact that the Star is right ahead as well, because although he may be looking backwards, his feet are pointing forwards, right? He knows where he's going. He's going this way. And the Star, well, the Star, it's a card of vulnerability. It's a card of healing and hope. It's a card of the future, because it talks about, you know, Aquarian energy. That is always very forward-facing. It's a card of balance. One foot on the water, or in the water, and one knee on the ground. Because at points over 2020, you certainly were not balanced, and you certainly were not grounded in a healthy way. Rooted to the spot, perhaps. And with this big pool of water in front of you that you did not want to put your foot into. There was too much. Too much for you to look at. Let's have a look here. What about the star? Ooh, there's the moon. The 5 of Wands. And the Chariot. We've got the 8 of Swords at the bottom of the deck. Right. There is an understanding, I think, that is slowly starting to filter through that you've become trapped by your own mind. You know, circumstances put you where you found yourself. But the only person who can shift that is you. And with the Star card, the card that speaks about the future, speaks about hope, speaks about connection too. We've got the Moon, and we've got the 5 of Wands, and we've got the Chariot. You are not yet in a new place, but you are in a transition between where you have been and where it is eventually you hope to end up. Right? We've got the Moon card. There is knowledge that your internal space requires some examination now, and I feel like a lot of it needs to be objective, right? Rather than really sinking and drowning in the emotions that are associated with, you know, what you experienced in 2020. It's kind of like, I don't know, I really like this Moon card because she's looking in the mirror, she's looking at herself, she's seeing herself, you know? Are you seeing yourself for the first time in a year, Virgo? Are you surprised by what you see? Because that's a shift, right? That's a change going on here. But it's not without conflict. Are you ready? Are you not ready? You're not sure, but things are shifting. There is some sort of a tug that it's time to move in some way or another. We've got the Chariot card here, right? And the conflict, it seems, is between picking yourself up and taking yourself forwards. And staying here, staring in the mirror, examining what it is that you see. Now, when we get into your current energy, I've got the Star card again. Right? This hope is getting stronger. Right? It was a clarifying card down here. Up here, it is the main theme for your current energy. And interestingly, although this woman here is sitting in the water, she has her hands on the ground. She is bound. And I think that this speaks more to this conflict that you're experiencing. The Untitled Tarot is really quite an incredible piece of work. I noticed that her eyes are lifted too. There's a burgeoning feeling of acceptance that I'm feeling here for you, Virgo, right? Where in this card, this woman she has one foot on the ground and she has one in the water there, right? But she ultimately is separated, right? There's only just those two small points of contact. Here, she's got into the pool. She's almost in waist deep. But she has her hands on the side. Now at the moment there's no attempt to pull herself out, but contact has been made and she's sitting with her emotions right there. But I noticed that she's lifting her gaze, right? She's not looking at the water, she's not looking at the ground, she is looking elsewhere. This is the hope, this is for the future. And what we have under there is the Ace of Pentacles and the King of Cups, and this is really quite extraordinary, right? Because it feels like the hope for a new start. is starting to, it's really starting to present itself. Where you weren't really that interested, I think, for most of 2020 in there being any kind of new start. You wanted to stay connected to what it was that you had lost, and that's why the Five of Cups energy was so strong. There is now this, like I said, this burgeoning desire for something new, and you being new, right? Let's not forget that this is your race as a Virgo. You're an earth sign. You can talk about new opportunities. You can talk about, you know, things as flat as a new job or a new house or a promotion or something like that. But for me, it speaks about a new start, right? Energetically different to where you have been. And combined with this King of Cups, it seems like there's a desire to work with the emotions, right? Work with them rather than be drowned by them, right? The King of Cups is usually depicted as sitting on a throne right out in the middle of the ocean, right? And the water in the tarot is emotions. This is somebody who can sit atop of their emotions without any fear of, you know, a huge tsunami knocking him off his throne, right? He's in charge of this body of water around him, and he understands it and he feels it, but ultimately he's in control of it. And this feels like what it is that you're hoping for now, Virgo. Now the intent is half of the battle. The mere fact that you are here means that Five of Cups energy is starting to fade. Because by its very nature, you see nothing else when the Five of Cups is there, right? It's all about the loss. It's all focused on the loss. And a desperate, you know, the desperate desire to have it back, no matter what. This is a moving on, or a beginning of the process of moving on. Let me see if there's anything else here that the King of Cups wants to say. King of Cups, please. Thank you. Ooh, it's powerful. We have the Strength card. And the Page of Swords again. Got the Three of Cups at the bottom of the deck. It's emotional support. But it's followed by the Emperor. There is a desire for change. There is a desire to personally effect change. The Emperor is all about planning and strategy and you know, getting ahead of oneself, really getting one's shit together, actually, is what the Emperor is about. And perhaps it is getting one's shit together with the assistance of friends, with those people that are still with you and who have been on this journey with you and remain, because, you know, I think for a lot of you, some of them peeled away when things got too hard for them. Now the Strength and Page of Swords is clarifying the King of Cups, right? Really getting on top of these emotions here. You know that it's going to be hard, but there's an acceptance that it is hard. With the Strength card here, we're seeing growth, right? There is this desire to grow. It's a desire to survive this, to be honest. You've experienced such depths in 2020, Virgo, that at points you didn't think that you would be able to get through it. You didn't think you would be able to survive. But here you are. You know, and your lion ears might be a little bit tatty, and your mane might be a little bit raggedy. You might have scars down yourself, but you are here. And more than that, you want to continue to be here. You want to continue on a path that is different to where you have been. Page of Swords again. Your consciousness is starting to come back. I've just remembered what came up in one of the 2021 videos. I remember distinctly as saying the words, Virgo, you're coming back online, and that's how it feels, right? It feels like you have been offline for some time, right? You've not been able to connect despite trying to connect, right? You're just not being able to do it, but there's coming back online. Your consciousness is starting to take over now, right? It's like it's time for the work to begin. It's time to start doing things differently. Like I said, you're not quite there yet, because what I do see here is hope for something new. But I don't yet see the new thing coming in. I see it being alluded to, but it's not quite yet here. What I don't see are any cards of endings here yet, right? So this is the first step down a road that will be difficult, but that increasingly you are feeling it is necessary to tread, right? So what's coming towards you in February is the King of Swords and the Lovers. Now, this is Aquarius and Gemini energy respectively, but I actually don't think it's anything to do with anybody else, right? Because what we've got here is a graduation from Page to King status here, and this talks about clarity of thought, clarity of expression, seeing things for the first time. Like I said, the Page is talking about you coming online. The King is about really arriving at a place. And where is it that you're arriving? Well, it's here at the Lovers, right? Now, the Lovers card to me talks about choice. It's a card of conscious co-creation. It is deciding consciously that you will now engage with the energies that are around you. Like you dropped offline for such a long time. So many things happened and you weren't really paying that much attention because you were grieving. Because, well, actually, do you know what, Virgo, I don't think that you were grieving. I think that that's the process that you're moving into now. I think for a year you were dealing with numb shock, and as you're coming online, it's because the numbness is starting to fade, right? You're starting to become aware of things that you were not aware of before, and this is a real strong presentation of the energy of somebody who is deciding that they want to participate again, and they're maybe not quite sure how they're going to do it, maybe a little bit concerned that they're not going to be able to do it, but that's not the important thing. The important thing is that the desire is there to try, and this is coming in really, really strongly for you in February, right? Working with, making decisions about your life. Now, notice that we've got two cards that have already come out for you, right? There's the conflict and there's the Knight of Cups, right? The conflict is there because you're not quite ready to fully embrace this yet. That's okay. That's not a problem. But this Knight of Cups is here because actually you want to. You want to start getting there. You want to start moving around in the world again. You want to be able to feel again, Virgo. Like I said, this numbness has kept you safe for a year because the loss was so overwhelming. But to feel it all at once would have been too much. Tell me about this Five of Wands, please. Yeah, Four of Pentacles. Makes perfect sense. Tell me about the Five of Wands, please. Oof. Oof. Virgo. Okay, so we have Judgment at the bottom of the deck. We also have Judgment here, right? That's important. I'll come back to that in a second. But the conflict is around holding on to what was, right? But it's the same kind of idea as the Five of Cups here, but rather than desperately clinging to, right, unable to perceive anything other than the loss, which is what the Five of Cups is about. There's more of a decision, there's more of a choice here, right? You feel a distance starting to unfold here. And it's not an emotional distance, right? It is very much a time and space. It's a 4D distance that's going on here, that's separating you from that event that shocked you to the core so very strongly. So part of you really wants to stay with that. Hold it tight, you know, not let it go. But this other part of you here, there's the Star again, and the Ten of Pentacles, striving for something new, right? Creating stability and security and commitment and all of those things that the Ten of Pentacles talks about. It can talk about family, for sure, and it can talk about business and all that sort of thing here. But there's a hope for that kind of security, that kind of enveloping again in the future. Maybe it is that you've realized that you can't achieve this if you don't put the effort into it, if you don't put the work into it. I'm always saying it takes a lot of energy to accrue 10 pentacles. They don't just come in by accident. There's a desire for it here, and this is the source of the conflict. Stay where you are and cling to those 4 pentacles, or work with the energies and hope that at some point in the future you can have this again. So we come to the Judgment card, and this is pretty heavy energy. It can talk about resurrection, but it's an energetic resurrection. It can be about, you know, finally turning and looking at things that you have not looked at properly, objectively, in the whole, you know, time that's elapsed since it happened. It's you consciously pulling it up to look at it and decide what, you know, what needs to be done about it, if anything, in fact. Tell me about Judgment, please. The High Priestess. Yeah. You're moving towards the possibility of making a decision, a really, really important decision for you, actually. Oh, fuck. In February, you know. And this Judgment is clarified by the High Priestess and the King of Wands. Like your intuition, your sensitivity, that which you have been, that you squashed down and numbed. Right? Your brain did it for you to protect you all of this time. That's coming back online too, and that's the thing that's causing this tug. It's causing this pull for you towards hope, just hope at this point. But she's here with the King of Wands, and the card at the bottom of the deck is the Ace of Wands. Now this card for me is the will to live. It's many other things besides, but it is that pure seed of potential, right? It's the wanting to live every day. It's wanting to experience new things. It's wanting to find passion again. Yeah, there you are, Virgo. You're just hiding there behind that Ace of Wands, right? It's coming back to yourself. With this Ace of Wands here, the one character out of the entire tarot that you would like to wield this Ace of Wands, if you really want to affect change, is the King, because he's active. He's not passive anymore, and you have been passive. You've been very passive, understandably so. But it's coming now in February to the point that you can't really ignore what your intuition is telling you. It is time to create. It is time to start living again. It's time to start experiencing again. Right? Hope is just that, unless we do something to affect it rather, you know, bring it into our being. An opportunity is always just that, unless we do something with it. You've got the Ace of Pentacles here, but you've got the Ace of Wands again as well. Okay? I think there's a desire to feel joy. Again, there's a desire to connect with things. There's a desire to actually notice the feeling of the wind on your skin or the sun on your face. Something like that. And it's coming, Virgo. It really is. Oh, I'm so pleased for you. I'm so pleased. It's time to come out of the cave. But only you can exit the cave, you know? Nobody can come in and get you. But I have a lot of faith, I have a lot of hope for you that you're going to choose to do that. Right, wow. I knew this was going to be quite a dense and kind of heavy, deep read when it was the Night Sun Tarot that wanted to come out. If this has resonated with you, I'm going to go over to Vimeo now and do an extended. We're going to pull this apart a little bit and see if we can come up with some advice and stuff like that that might help with this for you. But if not a problem at all. Remember, the 2021 videos are available if you're interested in that. If not, again, no problem at all. And I just thank you for being here with me. You know that I love you all very, very much, and I'll see you very soon.